Hey, happy, beautiful, amazing day. Dr. Bob Rakowski here, May 2020, with the SARS-CoV-2 science update. So this question almost seems like an oxymoron. Is fake news real? Well, there's a couple of statements in there, isn't there? There's definitely fake news. So yeah, fake news is real, but what they're reporting is not. So take a look at this picture here. Jacksonville Beach packed as Florida coronavirus has hit record, and then Los Angeles County, interestingly enough. Now, fascinating that, yeah, they moved in a little closer on that one, but if you look closely, you're gonna find out same people, same beach, different coast. Now those are not the pictures, and God only knows where either of them were taken. Pretty fascinating there. So New York Times, this is what really prompted my looking at this. They started talking about how there's just a massive rise in the death rate, everywhere. New York City, Netherlands, Belgium, Turkey, Indonesia, UK, France, Spain. I mean, people are just dropping like flies everywhere, according to those charts. So let's just look at what's real. So this is the CDC. And isn't it fascinating that they talk about flu deaths and they categorize it by the week? So notice in 2017, they were 24 weeks into 2017 when the flu wound down. 2018, 20 weeks into the flu year. 2019, 22 weeks in. 2020, 12 weeks in. 12 weeks in. So the flu ended anywhere from basically 2 to 3 months early? No, that's not how it works. They just stopped tracking. Now, the very sad thing about this is they're looking at pediatric deaths. Flu is quite bad for peds. That's how we know certain things about the flu. This virus, this unique virus, very unique, like never seen before, seems to affect the elderly. So how can we verify the deaths? Well, there's something called livestats.com, usalivestats.com. This site has been down for days, but it's so interesting that the same people that run LiveStats run Worldometers, and Worldometers actually keeps clicking along. Now, when they look at births this year from all over the world, I'm thinking they have US input. When they're looking at deaths from all over the world, I think they're looking at US input. So somehow that data is going, but it's not being reported here in the US. Now, that makes me just ask an interesting question. Why? So here is historical death data. And you can see that we are very, very, very consistent. Looks like they had us bottoming out here. Maybe that was 2018 and starting to turn around and come back up. So at the end of 2019, the death rate was 759 per 10,000. Looks a little bigger here in 2020, which let's just go up one, 760 per 10,000. So we know the current world population, took that snapshot this morning. There it is, 7.781 billion people. We're 122 days in the year, since this is a 366-day year, exactly 1/3 of the way in. So now we can calculate by projection how many deaths would be due today. So at 759 per 10,000, we would be at 687,768. At 760 per 10,000, we'd be at 19,713,707. Where are we? Right exactly between those two numbers. The projections are exact. Isn't that fascinating? So with enough data, we can project very, very accurately. Isn't it also interesting that they said the whole world would have somewhat of an increase in death rate this year? So now I looked at the CDC Flu Weekly. I had to dig and dig and dig. Didn't find it myself. Friends reached out to me and said, Bob, here's some actual data on the flu deaths. So you can find it, find that table, you can download it. And then I want you to look down, and 17th week of 2020 is where they stopped. We had 24,318 deaths. Now I'm going to blow that up a little bit, or maybe just go back to here. Look at 24,318, 57,000, 58,000, 59, 59, 58, 57, 57, 57, 56, 56. Where we lowest 53, and we had a 65. So if you're comparing to 24, which something seems really weird with that. Anything normal looks like a mega jump. So I go back to this kind of data, right? Mega jump, mega jump. I wonder if all the countries in the world made 1 week look really bad, so the next week they go, oh my gosh, look at the increase. But take a look. We know the projected death rate. It's not that hard. I took all the weeks of 2020, multiplied by the deaths per week, figured out what fraction of the year it was, right? 17 weeks, 7 days per week, 119 days in. Where are we at? Here's our death rate, which was very accurately projected. What are we within? 500 deaths of the projection at the beginning of the year. So where are we globally? Right on track, right on track. Now, what does that mean? It basically means that the economists were right. They knew how many people were going to die, and that's how many have died. We just changed what the death certificate said. Now, I'll say it again and again and again. This COVID virus is real. You know, was it made in a lab? Plenty of experts were saying that. Is there an HIV sequence inserted within it? Plenty of experts are saying that. Did the US, or more specifically, Fauci, signed off money to send it to China? Look at make viruses worse. Under investigation. Pretty fascinating. This I posted yesterday, a graph of the 2020 averages deaths. Notice that in February, our deaths started dropping. Then somehow the COVID deaths started jumping in, but by the magic of graphical, and you can look at yesterday if you want, it's crazy. It's really crazy what we're being told. It's also crazy. It's also crazy what we're not being told. So I really enjoyed this press conference by this California doctor and another California doctor. And here's what he said. Our hospitals are not very busy. Look at California's death rate. However, because the economy has taken such a beating, because people are in social isolation, because they're bored, because they can't go out, because they're not working, they have too much time on their hands, and that has led to alcohol abuse, drug abuse, spousal abuse, and child abuse. And they're seeing these abused individuals in the emergency room and in their private practices. And he said, understand, this flu season will come and go, but the scars of abuse usually last a lifetime. And he was saying, look, the solution that is proposed may be much worse than the problem. Yuval Noah Harari, little paradox here, great book, great author. He wrote Sapiens, he wrote Homo Deus, A History of Tomorrow, which, by the way, he said we all be biometrically tracked. Pretty fascinating, right? But he said in the past, censorship worked by blocking the flow of information. Well, now we can't do that. So basically, he says what people have to do is flood the information highways with pure crap. But they're still trying to censor. So I'm going to suggest if you find a YouTube video you like, download it, and then look at the crap that we're being told, right? The data is having a huge spin, lowest death rate in forever. Then they say, wow, the deaths are way up. Something is not quite right. So with that said, what are we going to do? Be healthy, be happy, share love, share peace, share truth. These are the treasures of life. I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski, absolutely knowing that we can all be happy, healthy, and successful.